Hey everybody, welcome back. Super excited about today's lesson. Today we're going to be talking about all things editing, and in my opinion probably the most important thing when it comes to smartphone photography. This is really where the magic happens and you're really able to create really impactful images through the editing process. So yeah, grab your phone, grab a paper, pen, and let's start. Alright, so the photo editing process. Now that you have learned composition, rule of thirds, you're applying these to your photos, you're starting to take photos without blur, now is the time to begin editing. So I think it's really important to lay down the foundation of this process with some key do's and don'ts. So for me, after I've gone out on my run or my adventure, I'll come back and I'll start looking for photos that really showcase good focus, good composition, I think are good quality photos. And then I'll select those, add them to my favorites, and then that becomes easy for me to edit them later. I can just open up my app, which we'll showcase here in the next video, and I can select my favorite folder and all my photos that I really liked are right there, instead of having to comb through 30, 40 photos or however many I had taken. One thing that I also do is I will increase the brightness on my phone pretty much all the way up. So this will allow me to really edit the photos in the best and brightest lighting on my phone. If it's all the way down or it's really dim, it's really hard to know if I should increase the brightness or the exposure. So having the brightness all the way up really helps. A couple other things to remember and to think about even before you're editing or while you're editing is less is always more when editing a photo. I think it's so often we'll want to just increase all the settings, make this look like a super human shot, and I find that just by adjusting a little bit here, a little bit there, really helps balance the photo and help keep it to a certain integrity and make it really look like it was while we were there. I will generally always increase something, but not by more than 10%. It's very rare that I go over that in different applications, whether it's sharpness, whether it's contrast, saturation, brightness, exposure, any of those elements I rarely go 10%. Any more than that, you start getting into a little bit of trouble with making the photo look a little bit too high def, and then a lot of times you'll start getting some grain into the photo as well, and really reduce the quality of the image. So those are a few things that I think are important to start off with and to remember. So yeah, selecting your favorites with a little heart in your photo album on your phone, and those drop into a favorites album, and then you can later go into that when you're editing your photo in an application, which we'll talk about. Next is increasing the brightness on your screen. Making sure that you have the best platform to edit your photo. And the third thing is less is always more. So remember those things before editing, and I think it'll really help create the best image possible. So now that we've laid down a foundation for editing and best practices, let's start talking about some editing apps and the ones that I like and we like at Territory. So the first one, and these are both free apps, you can find them in the iTunes App Store, download them and pop up right on your phone. The first one that I really like is called Snapseed. Snapseed is a really great photo editing tool. I use this one for fine tuning, I'll use it for adjusting my white balance, I'll use it for little details such as sharpness and stuff like that. And it's a great app for that. It's super simple, really easy. You can also select different parts of the photo and increase brightness or reduce brightness in certain areas. So it's a really awesome tool for lighting and just fine-tuning. The second app that I really like is VSCO, Visual Supply Company app, and this one is for me what I use for my filters. And again, each photo is different, and each photo, I don't always go to the same filter every single time for every photo, but one that we really use quite often at Territory for our Instagram page and different photos that we publish is there's one certain filter in there that has become a very common look for us, and we'll share that with you once we dive into the app.